Welcome. I'm Nina Burgess, Programs and Audience Engagement Intern at the Colby College Museum of Art in Waterville, Maine. This is Artful Movements. Artful Movements is a part of the museum's wellness initiative under the larger program Let Art Inspire. In this program, we select an artwork from our collection and we pair it with a yoga pose. Before we dive into the yoga portion of the program, let's first look at the artwork that inspired this month's theme. Let's reflect. Today, we look at the work by Elizabeth Catlett, Sister, 1971. Elizabeth Catlett was a modern sculpturist, painter, educator, and renowned Black American artist born in Washington, D.C. in 1915. She attended Howard University before earning her MFA in sculpture at the University of Iowa, where she met her esteemed mentor, Grant Wood, who inspired her to tap into different art styles and mediums, create lithographs, and work with sculpture in wood, stone, and clay. Within her art-making process, Catlett drew inspiration in part from her lived experience as a Black American woman born decades before the Civil Rights Movement, as well as her time spent living and teaching art in the National School of Fine Arts in Mexico City. As seen in Sister, Catlett often brought together the historical context in which she was living, portraying empowering images of the oppressed. Catlett also worked to create unified solidarity against systems of oppression, as observed in another popular work of hers, Homage to My Young Black Sisters. Elizabeth Catlett's Sister could be viewed as an ode to the merging of unity and solidarity. Viewed this way, the upward gaze and medium of the figure is a reflection of a history of enduring strength and resilience. The natural green marble reflecting against the light could also be viewed as a moment for personal reflection on the influence of nature and the environment within the identity of the work. The woman holds a peaceful, seemingly natural or content expression, and her facial features possibly reflect the fluidity of her identity. The asymmetry caused by the intentional imbalance in the shoulders possibly signals a merging of two states of being, one in which can be seen as oriented towards active remembrance or reflection, and the other towards progress or upward liberation. As the past is present within my own point of view, the duality of both states of being have the potential to bring us to reflect on our lives and the way that we can work together to create change. The yoga pose accompanying Catlett's Sister is the hero pose, also called Virasana. The seated hero pose relates closely to the upward gaze and position of Sister, with the head facing forward and honorable, grounded reflection. Sitting on the floor can be used as a grounding strategy to connect one back to the earth, much like Sister connects to the earth with the use of natural clay material. This creates a need to sit with our emotions, however heavy. The hero pose inspires a feeling of mental focus, which is perfect for sustained reflection. Other benefits of the pose include improving joint mobility, range of motion in the knees, lengthening the spine, and stretching the quadricep muscles in the legs. Be cautious when doing this pose if you have pre-existing knee, leg, and lower back injuries. Now, let's visit our partners at School Street Yoga, who will lead us in our yoga practice.
Welcome to School Street Yoga. I'm Kathleen Haberstock, and this is today's yoga portion of Artful Movements. We're going to start right away in a pose today. So our pose today, hero's pose or Virasana, can be a challenging pose. So we're going to be opening some of the muscles today to help you to better get into this pose. So to start, we'll be doing half Virasana, and we'll be lying back, Supta Virasana, but half Ardha Supta Virasana. So you're going to need a pillow or a bolster, 2 blankets, and 2 blocks. And you can do this without all of those props. So if you don't have those props, don't worry. I'll show you also a modified version that you can do. But we'll start at the very back of your mat. You'll put 1 block middle level, and then the next block the lowest level. And then take your bolster or your pillow and put it on top of that. So the bolster should be touching the mat closest to you. And then you're going to find your way over to the bolster or the pillow. Bring a blanket behind you so that your head can rest on the blanket. And then we'll have 1 more blanket ready in case we need it. We will bend the right knee and bring the top of the foot on the floor. Now this can be challenging. And if this already, you're thinking, oh no, this is not working for my knee, you'll let that go. There's no need to do this. You can bring the sole of your foot into your leg. And if you don't have a pillow, you can be upright. You could bring your hands behind you and just be breathing here like this. Otherwise, you will fold your leg so that the top of the foot is down, and you can kind of pull the front of the knee forward. If you're finding that this sits bone is not on the ground, you can raise yourself up on a blanket to kind of even the sits bones out. Once you've done that, begin to lean back on your bolster. Leaning back, your blanket should catch your head. And just allow yourself to breathe here. And of course, we'll be switching sides in a moment. But begin to deepen your breath. Noticing your inhale, noticing your exhale. So this is already beginning to stretch the muscles that need to be stretched on the right side for hero's pose, Virasana. I'm gonna sit up, but you guys stay lying back in your pose unless you don't have a pillow, in which case you might be upright or you might even play with folding forward here. I'm gonna read to you a bit. You've seen the art of Elizabeth Catlett, and I'm gonna read to you a bit about her. Throughout her life, she clearly articulated her commitment to justice for all oppressed peoples through eloquent and impassioned visual statements that resonate, as she said, for liberation and for life. Melanie Herzog. So Elizabeth Catlett created these strong images of African American women in particular. And as she said herself about her art, dignified, strong women instead of them being invisible. So she was making what at the time was quite invisible, visible. And as you're lying here, breathing, deepening your breath, in this slightly uncomfortable pose, perhaps, right? This pose may not be the most comfortable pose, but you know that you're doing good for your body. Breathing here. Noticing your inhale and your exhale will just reflect. Allow yourself to reflect on the importance of Elizabeth Catlett's work, on the importance of her creating strong, vibrant images of African American women when that was not available in our culture. and all of the influence that she had. So she was both showing the oppression and the struggle in some of her art, but she was also showing the beauty and the strength. A few more deep breaths here. And then just finding your way up. We're going to switch sides. So taking that right leg forward, and just pause there for a moment. That's an intense pose, so you want to allow the length in the back of that leg. We'll move our blanket to the other side to get ready, and we'll draw the left foot in. And it could be that the sides are different and that this does not work for you on this side. And in that case, you can bring the sole of the foot to the leg. You can be upright here or lean back on your pillow like this. But if you would like, you will pull that foot in and breathe here. And you can kind of pull on that knee in order to release it a little bit. You can lift yourself up to even out the sits bones. And then you can lie back. Allowing yourself to breathe here. Deepening the inhale, deepening the exhale. So it might not always be comfortable for us to contemplate the injustices that have happened within our country, within African American history. But it's so important for us to acknowledge and reflect and to see this art, and for many, many people to see this art and reflect on it. And just as our poses are not comfortable always, but it's so important for us to move our bodies in ways that might not feel comfortable in order for us to grow. So a few more deep breaths here, and let's focus on the inhale and the exhale. Let's lengthen the breath. We'll just do a little bit of equal part breath, Samavriti. So inhaling, and then exhale, count as you exhale. Whatever number you count to, you're now going to inhale to the same count. Big inhale through the nose. Let it go out the mouth. Pressing yourself up in your own time. We'll let that leg go. We'll sit ourselves down and we'll find Baddha Konasana. So butterfly pose. So we're going to draw the soles of our feet together, knees apart. Get upright on your sits bones. Maybe pull on the feet or the ankle, big inhale, and then begin to fold forward on an exhale. And breathing here in butterfly pose. If your elbows press your thighs, then press your thighs into your elbows as well. And a few deep breaths here. One more big inhale through the nose, please. Let it go out the mouth. And then begin to press yourself up. We're going to find our way over. So actually, we're just going to bring our feet flat to the floor. And then we're just going to let the knees drop side to side a few times. Now you're going to use your pillow or your bolster here. So next time the knees drop to the right, go ahead and grab your bolster. If it's behind you, you're going to get it. and then bring it forward. Now take the bolster and pull it in towards the hip. And then we're just gonna start to walk ourselves, twisting, and walk yourself forward. If you can twist further, you can make that bolster diagonal. And we'll lower ourselves down into deer pose. So head can turn towards your knees. You could put your head to center or turn your face away from your knees. Whatever makes sense for you. And breathing here, feeling the bolster holding you. I'm going to bring in a little bit of mindfulness reading to our reflection. So as you're breathing here, just listening to what I'm reading. Ajahn Chah called the practice of non-contentiousness stopping the war. He pointed out how we are constantly in battle with the world, fighting against what is wrong, against what is too long or too short, too fast or too slow, courageously carrying on the battle. Why not stop the battle, he would say, inviting us to rest in the non-contentious heart. The opposite of aggression is not passivity, it is true strength. When we have lost a sense of our innate nobility, we mistakenly believe in our fear and weakness. We try to be strong through hate and aggression. When we release aggression, we discover true strength, a natural fearlessness, the courage to face our griefs and fears, and to respond without hate. Martin Luther King Jr. called this unshakable strength soul force. So just picturing that soul force of the statue, sister that you were just looking at. And then slowly begin to press yourself up. We'll make our way up to center. We'll move the bolster to the other side. Drop the knees to one side and then to the other. And we'll begin to twist to our left. You can take that bolster into the hip. Begin to twist. If you can twist even more, you'll move the bolster in that direction. And then drawing yourself forward onto the pillow or the bolster. Head can face your knees, be at center or be away from your knees. And a few deep breaths here. So I'm reading from the book The Wise Heart by Jack Kornfield. In ancient Greece, anger was described as a noble emotion. It stood up for what was right. It spoke out against injustice. Non-contention carries this courage with a loving heart. Mahatma Gandhi acknowledged, nonviolence requires more courage than violence. True strength meets the vulnerability of life with caring and courage. True strength knows that there are two great powers in this world. The first is those who are unafraid to kill. The other is those who are unafraid to love. Even in situations of great danger, true strength chooses love. Martin Luther King Jr. demonstrated the strength of this love in the darkest hours, saying, "We will meet suffering with soul force." Big inhale through the nose. Let it go out the mouth. Slowly pressing your way up. We're going to find our way now to hands and knees. So finding your way over to hands and knees. You can put a blanket under your knees if that's helpful. We'll find some cat-cows here. Inhale the heart forward, exhale round the spine. Lifting the sits bones, lifting the crown of head. Exhale, lowering crown of head, lowering sits bones. A few times back and forth like that. Coming to neutral in your own time. We're going to walk the hands forward a little bit on your mat. Just have your blocks near the front of your mat in case you'll need them. Tuck your toes and find that cow again. So the sits bones lift. Hug the belly in. And then we're going to lift into downward dog, lifting the sits bones. So lead the way into downward dog with the sits bones. And then pedaling the feet. A few breaths here. Now we'll lift the right leg. Inhale here. On an exhale, bring the right knee forward and then step the foot between your hands. Give it a helping hand if it needs it. Drop the back knee down. Get your blocks and sink the hips forward and breathe here. You can have the back toes tucked or untucked. So see what it's like here to draw the hips back and soften them forward. The ankle, the front ankle, should be under your knee. Drawing the hips forward and drawing the hips back. If that's not okay on the knee, don't do it. But if that's okay on the knee, we'll press ourselves up, sinking the hips forward. Clasp the hands in front of you. On an exhale, invert the palms away from you as you draw the hips back. On an inhale, lift the arms, hips sink forward. A couple of times like that. Next time arms lift, keep them lifting. We can let the hands go. Big inhale. Exhale, frame the front foot with your hands, tuck the back toes, and we'll step it forward. And just hang. Hang over your legs. You can have a generous bend to the knees, sway to the spine. Breathing here. Now you might bring big toes to touch. And as you begin to rise up, lift the belly, lift the heart, Utkatasana. So the knees are bent. If the big toes are touching, legs can hug in towards one another. You should be able to see your toes if you look down. Beyond your knees, you should see your toes. And then inhale, rise up, a little back bend. Exhale, palms through heart center. And then let your hands go and breathe. Breathe here. Tadasana, mountain pose. We'll sit back down through Utkatasana, chair pose, and then fold over your legs. Inhale, flat back. Hands can be on blocks, shins, or thighs. Exhale, fold. We'll step back to downward dog. Stepping over that blanket. And then lift the left leg. On an exhale, step the foot between your hands. Drop the back knee. And again, blocks frame the front foot, just pausing here, breathing, sinking hips forward, but then see what it's like to rock the hips back and rock the hips forward a few times. See if that's okay on your knee. Pressing yourself up towards Anjaneyasana, crescent moon. Sinking hips forward, clasp the hands, the less familiar clasping. As you invert the palms, exhale, hips move back. Inhale, hips move forward, lift the heart. Exhale, hips move back. Inhale, lift the heart. One more like that. And then release the hands, big inhale. Exhale, frame the front of the foot. Now we're gonna step it back to down dog. And then coming forward, we'll drop the knees, coming back to hands and knees. And then you're going to just cross the right knee behind the left knee and fan the feet out to the side. You'll begin to sit back, but please have a block ready or a blanket in case you need it. And you'll bring a block under your sits bones. If this does not work for you, straighten that bottom leg. If this is okay, breathe here. And then we'll fold forward. Hands can be on the ground. Breathing here. On an exhale, let that go. You can come out of this any way you like. You can sit back and straighten the legs, or you can rock forward. Either way, come back to hands and knees, and then we'll bring that left knee behind the right knee. And we're sitting back again. And again, you might want a block. That might be helpful. You might want a blanket instead, which can also be helpful, or a pillow. Or you're sitting right on the floor. You can always straighten this bottom leg. Gomukhasana, cow-faced pose. So breathing here. And if this is okay, you could fold forward. Slowly pressing yourself back up, letting go of the legs. Now we're going to find our pose, hero's pose, Virasana. So coming back onto your hands and knees, you're going to want a block or two. Why don't you start out with 2 blocks, especially if you're not familiar with this pose. You're going to bring your knees to touch and separate your feet. And then those 2 blocks are coming behind you. I'll show you from the back. So the blocks are going to be between the feet, and then you're sitting on those blocks. So this should make it pretty accessible. If it's still not accessible, please don't do it if it doesn't feel right on your knees. And of course you can come down to a block this height, or a pillow, or the floor. But we're not sitting on the heels. We're sitting in between the heels. And just allow the hands to rest on the thighs. Hero's pose, Virasana. Reflecting as you breathe. Reflecting on the soul force that you've seen in the art today. There was not anywhere to be found positive imagery in art of African American women, and Elizabeth Catlett created that. She brought that into the world to inspire. So contemplating that soul force of Elizabeth Catlett, and then also contemplating your own. Noticing the inhale, noticing the exhale. Allowing that to bring you into the present moment with your breath. On your next exhale, letting that go, we're going to find our way into Shavasana with as much bringing this quiet inward quality with you as possible. Lying down, have a block. And then lifting the hips, bring the block under the hips. Hug the right knee in, let the left leg go. Give it a squeeze. Letting the right foot come to the floor, hug the left knee in, straighten through the right leg, and breathe. Releasing the foot, lifting the hips to remove the block, finding the position that's right for you for Shavasana. It might be legs are straight, it might be knees are bent, and knees are touching and feet are wide. So finding the Shavasana that's right for you. Nothing left to do for the next few moments, just allowing yourself to release. Slowly begin to deepen the breath. You're at home, so you're welcome to stay lying down in Shavasana. But if you'd like to get moving, you can wiggle fingers and toes, roll to either side. Slowly press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Please bow your head to your heart. Honoring your practice today and honoring the work of Elizabeth Catlett. I watched a video in which she asked how we all can be of service. So I just end with that question for us to reflect on. How can you be of service? We can take our practice off our mat out into the world. Big inhale through the nose. Let it go out the mouth. Namaste. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon, either at School Street Yoga or at the next Artful Movements.
I hope you have enjoyed today's program. If you would like to spend more time with this artwork, I encourage you to participate in another upcoming program, Artful Meditation and Expression. Be sure to like and follow us on all of our social media accounts at Colby Museum and visit us at colby.edu/museum to stay updated with all of our digital museum at-home programs. Take care, and we look forward to seeing you for our next Artful Movements.